Hello YouTube, welcome back to Flight Sim World. Today I am going to be taking out a PA-34 Seneca V or Seneca V, and let me just have a quick look at what's the specs there. Okay, that's fine, and we're just going to be having a look at a couple of things. One, we're going to see what the interface is like on a Seneca V. You know what, I'm just going to call it a PA-34. It's probably easier that way for me to call it a PA-34, so that's what I'm going to be calling it. We're going to pick the weather conditions to be a sunny day, but I'm going to configure it and give myself slightly less visibility and some scattered clouds and a little bit of wind, like so. We'll keep that. Should we start at dawn? I tell you what, we're also going to go time and season, and we're going to go dawn, so we can have a bit of a look at the dawn, the settings at dawn and stuff like that. I don't know why my microphone is really quiet. I'm probably going to amplify this anyway, but something's not entirely right today. In fact, a lot of things haven't been right today with this recording. You're not going to see, if this one comes out, you're probably not going to see any other recordings that I did today, despite me doing 3 or 4. Because none of them have actually worked. We're going to start over here in Valley, Echo Golf Oscar Victor, and we're going to fly down to Welshpool in the middle of Wales, essentially, which is Echo Golf Charlie Whiskey. The way we're going to do this, though, is that there is a VOR over here, and there is a VOR down here. Now, the way we're going to fly this is we're going to see if we can fly, essentially, on a radial towards that VOR. Then we're going to come downwards and see if we can track the the Brecon VOR down this way, and that should allow us to pass right over the airport, which then we'll be able to see, and then once we see it, we'll turn around and then land at the airport. Now the thing is, with this is that that airport right there should be disused. It's a disused airport, but for some reason it does work. Right, what's that? That's the airport details. 115.95, 116.8, and there's Brecon. 117.45. Right, I've written these down beforehand, and I just want to double check to make sure they're right, because I got them off some the information off a different bit of software called Plan G. That's where I got my information from. I just want to make sure that they are correct, and they are. And I've got the Morse code identifiers and everything for them, which I don't think they show on here, do they? No, see, they don't show the Morse code identifiers or anything, but I've got them. So let's see if I can do this. Right. Select the departure airport, so over we go to, let's say, Valley. What's that one? Cairnfon. Clanbred. Let's go over here, Valley. And we're not going to set any airport to be going to, even though we are going here, because I don't want that pink line to show on the actual flight display, the map, the MFD, or whatever it is. Right. Let's get ourselves going and let's see what we can do in this episode of Flight Sim World. I actually recorded this beforehand, but for some reason everything was in slow motion, and I did the entire flight, which should have only taken an hour. It took almost 2 hours, and I did the entire flight trying to work out why it felt off. And when I look back at the recording, it doesn't look like it's in slow motion exactly, but if I compare it to some tweaks I did today and that I'm going to try now, you can tell it's in slow motion. And I don't know why it was in slow motion. I was getting really good frames, don't get me wrong, fantastic frames, and everything was looking great, but I don't know. I've done some tweaks now that probably means I won't be getting as good frames as I was in the other video, but I'm still working on it, and I know a couple of people have been asking on Twitter what tweaks I've done. I'm not going to be talking specifically about the tweaks because there's still a lot to do, but I will just generally cover some of the tweaks I've made and what they actually do and where you can find them. So the first thing is, whilst this is loading, you must always go to the fsw.config file, which will be found in your app data under Dovetail Games. It might be local Dovetail Games, and then yeah, it should be local Dovetail Games, and then I have no idea from there. It should just be right there in the middle. Right, just going to zoom in. What we're going to do here is first of all, my steering wheel is in the way. Yeah, I've actually still got my steering wheel out, so that gives you an idea as to what I may have been recording. So the first thing we need to do is get ourselves right. We need to ignore that alert. We're inside airspace. We're not going to be worrying about that. We should switch on all our lights. I'm just going to press L to switch on. I'm also going to switch off the dome light. It just gives me those lights. That's much nicer. Yeah, that's a lot nicer. So we're going to go here. That's not lit up for some reason. So there's a bug. So obviously this is all about trying to work out what is and isn't working. Now all my outside lights are on. The frames I should be getting is about 25 to 30. Yeah, there we go. I mean, that's not bad, given that we're using half refresh rate, so we're actually forcing the frames down. And that's the idea here, to try and get a smoother flight. Okay, let's have a look at any of the other views that we've got. So that's fine. As you can see, all the buildings are loaded in over at this airport. There's the Snowdonian mountains that we're going to be flying over, just in the distance there. What is interesting here that I found already is that if you look at that, the lights are not dynamic. They're not actually lighting up the ground. There's no environmental light lighting up the ground. They're not lighting up any other parts of the plane. So you can see there, that's pretty bad. Particularly if this was night, I would not be able to see the runway. So yeah, that's something that I'm assuming is going to be worked upon. So that's obviously just something I have now found that we need to address, or Dovetail Games needs to address pretty quickly. That's not a bad view. We might actually use that view for something. Right, anyway, back here, let's get ourselves up on what we need to do. So we've got a VOR over at Shawbury, and that is 116.8. So if I tune in fact that's already got 116.8 tuned in. If I tune in 116.8, set up that CDI, that's VOR 1, there we go. That should do the trick for me. And if I switch, let's zoom in here. Okay, if I have a look at this, what is this? Okay, that's nav 1. That's something for hold, and that's nav 2. So if I switch nav 2, and nav 2 can be, let's have a look, 115.95. So 115.95. What just happened? Why have my lights gone out? Hello? Dimming switch. Is that on? How do I know if that's on or not? That's 2%. 7%. That's not doing anything. What's this? Panel. That's not moving. Oh wait, it did light up. Why have all my lights gone out? Avionics lights on. No, they're not. Okay, Dovetail Games, there you go. There's another issue. That's clearly not working. Everything just went out, and that's it. That's all I've got. We'll bring our flaps down to 10 degrees. We'll switch on our transponder, VFR 1200. We'll switch on our, I don't know what that is actually. I don't actually know what that one is. but it's okay. We will also go zoom out on this to give ourselves, say, should go for 5 miles. I want 5 miles. No, come on. 5 miles. There we go. That should be good. And we've got the VOR up. That should be all right. Let's get this. Let's get the course rotated so that we know which way we need to be going. That's not actually giving me anything. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get ourselves in the air first, and then we'll see what we can do. Right. Here we go, in the dark now. And also, why is that not... Is that one not active? One on 5.9, why is that not active? I don't know. I don't know. That should be working. That definitely should be working. Switch that on. And that is everything, I believe. Alright, here we go. Let's see if we can get this show on the road. Using the joystick, not my gear stick. I just went and grabbed the gear stick. That's the wrong thing to grab. Pull to the left immediately, so we'll counter with a little bit to the right. Oh, that's a lot to the left. And we are good to take off, I think. No, we're not. What happened there? There we go. Okay, positive rate. Gear up. And we'll bring the flaps up as well. We're rotating over to the left. I need to bring this further forward. My joystick is way too far back. That's better. Okay. Alright, we're now underway. Let's get ourselves some rudder correction here. And let's try and work out whether this VOR actually works. 116.8. Bring our nose down a little bit. Trim for climb. Not that low. Okay, and let's see if we can get this VOR running. So, not heading. Where are you headed? Whoa, this wind is buffeting me around, but oh well. Right. So I'm thinking this should be on a radial of around 90. But I can't seem to see it. And this isn't grabbing it either. So I wonder if it's out of range. So I tell you what, let's head towards Snowdonia. Like so. Okay, now let's see, can we switch on the autopilot? Yeah, apparently not. Bring the flaps in. There we go. Apparently we can't switch on the autopilot either. That's is this plane bugged or something? That should have been really easy to switch on. Elevator trim. Or is there a button I'm missing? I have no idea. Get rid of that alert. In queue. That one's not going to do anything. We're just looking for that one there. And we're at a fair height. Let's have a look outside. So you can see I've started making some tweaks to like the way the cloud coverage is, the mesh density, stuff like that, but I'm still working on it. Still, that's not looking too bad. The one big tweak I have done is oh, that's actually a really nice view. So the one big tweak. The one big tweak I have done is with the fiber time fraction and mesh resolution and stuff like that, but I've also used the NVIDIA Inspector to do a number of things. So fiber time fraction, I'll just explain this quickly. This isn't any video where I can explain this in a very clever way, because it's not going to be so clever. Fiber time fraction is basically how much you can go from 0.01 to something like 0.99. It's how much of your CPU essentially is used to render the scenery, right? So the more you put on that, the higher the number. So 0.5, 0.6, that means the more CPU can be allocated to render scenery. Oh, zip it. There, happy? Right, the more CPU can be allocated to render scenery. At least that's how I understand it. What that does mean though is that will have a very adverse effect on your frame rate. So you can imagine right now if I look at that, we've got this rendered, but as you can see, if I look out in the distance, you can see that's not exactly fully rendered. Right? As I wobble around, it's quite gusty. That's not fully rendered. So if I was to increase my fiber time fraction, I believe that would be rendering a lot faster, but the frames would drop. So at the moment our frames are what? 30 frames a second, as we want. But it would be far less if I was to go ahead and you know, drop that or increase that fiber time fraction. You know what I want to do? First of all, these views are incredible from this, but I want to... Oh, I don't know whether this is a good idea, but I still can't get this VOR working. I don't know why. Let's try and retune it. Altitude. Hang on. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, I think there are things on this aircraft that don't work. Of course, let's try and surely this should work. Genuinely have no idea. Tell you what, let's turn both of them to 116.8. There we go. Now let's see if it works. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm going to see if I can get in between those mountains. Oh, hang on, it's just come alive. Yes, it has. It's just come alive. So is it the second one? If I switch it off the first one. Okay, it's the second one that does that. Right, okay, let's get ourselves... Let's get this right then. Here we go. Right. So we need to fly on a course of we need to fly around 115 to be able to do this. But like I said, I'm gonna see if I can get ourselves in between these mountains first. Just because, why would I not try to do this? Seriously. This is going to be tough, but this is going to be quite fun. I'll probably do this video in 2 parts. So this is going to be part 1. I can just imagine what the view is going to be from that. Slow this right down as we bring ourselves down quite severely. Right, so at least we know where we need to be flying. In fact, we're pretty much flying in the direction we need to go. Right, except I need to turn this to get this within the mountain. Okay, that I'm going to say looks great. That genuinely does. Right, I think that's low enough. Keep ourselves around this height. Make sure we don't clip that. We've got plenty of clearance. But it's also a good show of the scenery here. There we go. And now we'll start climbing out. Here we go. That's quite a view. And you can see here, look at the tree density right here. That's a lot of trees. Again, I think that is a really nice view. Anyway, we should probably climb on out of here. Nice and gently. Okay, so we need to jump back on that VOR, I think. And what we'll do then is, if we tune this to nav 1 and tune this to 115.9, clear there. 115.9. There we go. There we go. 56.9 miles. That's what we wanted. I think we've got some drops in frame rates here though. There you go. You can now see that toll on the frame rate. It's definitely taking a toll. All this scenery, all these trees are taking a toll. I've bumped up the, like I said, I bumped up the terrain and mesh resolution as well. This is something I did. This is something I did with in the FS config again. So that's another thing you can do in FS config. It's some of the options that aren't really available outside of the FSW config, which is kind of sad, because if those options are around, then we should be able to use them. Right, let's get ourselves back on the VOR, back on that VOR course. Oh, this looks fantastic. See, this is where I think there's quite a nice, I don't know, it's just that's something to kind of admire. Stuff like that. But I wish that there was just I wish there was better opportunities to have this correctly perform. I would say would be the right phrase. There's that cliff over there. Hang on, what's that? As you can see that it's blurring out as we go further away. That's the loading and unloading of textures that's causing that. Which is what I'm trying to avoid. That's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to avoid doing. Right, let's get ourselves back here. And we are now to... Right, let's see if we can get ourselves onto that radio. In fact, let's get ourselves onto a different radial. Why don't we? Let's see what radial we can get ourselves onto. If we fly a heading... There we go. That should have us nicely on the radio. Oop, that was a bit of a sharp turn out, but that... There we go. We are now headed towards Shawbury. Great. And I think I will... should I end the video here? I think I'll end the video here. And we'll come back. We'll come back to this in... I'll have another episode in a couple of days. And once we come back to it... Let's have a look how far out we are, actually. Actually, let's continue for a little while longer. Just keep on the VOR to Shawbury. Ignore these messages. We've kept ourselves at a decent amount, but you can see there how we can bring up the autogen. Now that's, I think that is actually a higher autogen than the highest setting at the moment. So like I said, I'm just playing around with a few things. The other thing I've played around with is NVIDIA Inspector. So what you do on there, I've done some anti-aliasing, so you can see it's quite smooth. All the textures, there's no jaggy edges, which is something I've done with NVIDIA Inspector. I've also done half refresh rate, so that's helping with keeping this smooth. And I've made a number of tweaks to NVIDIA Inspector, which allow me to run this similar to how I ran Flight Simulator 10. It's almost a similar setup. You know what, I am headed in the wrong direction. I should be going this way. Let's sort out where exactly we need to be headed. It's okay, yep, 115 is the radial. Now, I wonder if I press Z, will the autopilot come in? Yes, it does. Why can I not switch the autopilot on then? So will that actually turn it correctly? Yes, it does. And I can't... Why can I not... Okay, the altitude is not working. Altitude hold off. Right, what happened there? But the heading select is definitely working. That's good. Okay, I think I will end the video here then. Or do I want to still go on for a couple of moments? Let's level ourselves off at around 4,000. There we go. I want to see if I can get an altitude now. It won't budge. I cannot change the altitude. In fact, when I press that, it just pitches the plane upwards. I'm not too sure. I'm wondering if this is bugged. In any case, let's keep ourselves around this height. Let's take a look outside now. See, that doesn't look too bad as well. Again, I've bumped up the mesh complexity in the FS World config. I've bumped up the mesh resolution as best as I can, and it's giving me, I think, a decent-ish setup. I mean, that doesn't look bad. Like I said, that looks better than I had on the first attempt, but you know, that's just that. Right, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Let's get back into... I would go into that view, but actually, yeah, why not? There we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Flight Sim World. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. I think that view looks pretty good. Still improvements to be made, and of course I think we can get a lot better performance out of Flight Sim World after the early access period is over, but it just goes to show some potential, something that can be done. Can I bring that down? Come on. No, I can't bring that down. I thought I could bring that one down. But yeah, and do support me on Patreon. That's the last thing to say. Do support me on Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. I would really appreciate your support. Massively appreciate. It would come in really handy. It'll allow me to do a whole bunch of stuff and just get on with a lot of stuff, and that would be really great for me. So yeah, I do really appreciate the support that's already on there, and I appreciate your support on the videos as well. But you know, if you can support me on Patreon, that would mean the world to me, and I would really appreciate it. A link to that is in the description box below, and I will join you guys in the next episode where we'll take it over to a disused airport in Welshpool, or at least what I believe to be a disused airport in Welshpool, and see if we can land among the hills. Thank you very much for watching, and once again, wow, I'm getting this all wrong, aren't I? Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.